I was following the eye, was following the eye, was following the eye, was following the eye, was following.
My name is Jenny Scafidi. I was born in Children's Hospital in San Francisco by a nurse midwife in 1982. Growing up, I was one of those girls. You know, the baby-obsessed girl who babysat for the whole town and volunteered in labor and delivery at our local hospital. At Sonoma Valley Hospital, I quickly realized I wanted to work as an L&D nurse. The first birth that I ever saw was a C-section for twins, which struck me as really odd because I didn't understand why twins would be considered a complication. But a few years later, in a child development class, I figured it out. My professor had arranged for a nurse midwife to come and talk to our class about natural childbirth. Suddenly, everything made sense. I was going to be a nurse midwife. In 2005, a friend told me about a vocational school in El Paso that had an accelerated midwifery program. 3 years compacted into one. It was like midwifery boot camp. In 13 months, I attended 200 births, 80 of which I personally caught. It was so intense but so amazing. I witnessed and really assimilated the fact that women were coming over the border to birth, and as these babies crossed over their mother's perineums, I realized there are many, many borders we cross in life. When I finished my licensing, I came back to California, hoping to provide care to underserved women, but quickly realized that the home birth movement was really targeted at middle to upper class white women. I couldn't do it. Women of color experience rates of infant mortality twice as high as white women. I needed to get to those women. I wanted to make policy changes. I needed to finish my bachelor's and my master's, and decided to go to Guatemala for the summer. In 3 months that I was there, I was living in Lake Atitlan, and I was doing prenatals for all of my friends. But just before I left, a friend of mine lost her baby to preeclampsia, which was completely preventable. There just wasn't enough resources and education for the indigenous midwives that were there. I knew I could help, but wasn't sure how I would be able to afford to come back. In fall of 2007, I began at the Community Studies program and joined GIIP. The two programs were a perfect marriage. In Community Studies, I was theorizing how to assist a community as an outsider and conceptualizing the whole train the trainers thing, while in GIIP I was learning how to appeal to the business world and make my social justice ambitions doable. In other words, get funded. Remembering my Guatemalan friend who had lost her baby, I worked to secure funding so I could return to Atitlan and offer free classes to the midwives. We met every Saturday, me and 10 indigenous women between the ages of 40 and 63 who had been attending births for years, relying predominantly on prayer to guide them through their complications. We practiced taking blood pressure on each other, we made shepherd's purse tinctures, we constructed models of female anatomy out of cloth. Everything I could think of that was hands-on. The midwives' enthusiasm reminded me of giddy schoolgirls. I even caught them hiding handouts down their embroidered blouses to study at home. It wasn't smooth sailing from the get-go, though. It took time. I had to get to know the midwives before I could really figure out how to reach them. Learning how my formalized education often prevented me from making things simple, when all the midwives wanted was basics, to just sit with women and feel the power of that. I'd always known that midwife translates to with women, but it was my experience working with, sitting with, Dominga, Ava, Anna, Rosa, Katerina, Isabella, Manuela, Josefa, and Petronella that made it really tangible.
So